Hello everybody and welcome to the Australian East eCrit series powered by KISS and Zwift Community Live. My name is Jesper Anker and I will be your guide for tonight's race. This is the first time we're actually broadcasting the eCrit series here on the main Zwift Facebook. So, if this is your first time you're watching the eCrit series and you're wondering, what is this? Well, let me tell you just that, because the eCrit series is a groundbreaking event taking place on Zwift every week, targeted for the Southern Hemisphere, down for Australians, where every week, every Tuesday, they race to gain points towards an overall standing, where at the end of the year, in September, the top 5 from the Eastern Division and top 5 from the Western Division will then be invited to a live racing finale taking place in Melbourne. So you get invited to race in Melbourne on the big stage, you line up and you give it everything you've got. These racers, they've been racing for 5 weeks straight, and here we go. This is our 5th race happening out on course today as the East eCrit racers are now getting underway. So today we're going to be on Watopia, meaning we're going to be racing one of the tougher courses there are out there in the eCrit series. Today is the Volcano counterclockwise course, which they'll take on about 7 times in total, and depending on what day it is, the eCrit riders will do a different course. If it's London, we've seen them do the Classics course twice. If it is Richmond, they'll do the Richmond Flat course. And if it is Watopia, like it is today, they're gonna go into the burning heat of the volcano, and we'll see who can sustain the efforts going through that and come out victorious on the other end of that awesome circus. Here we go. On the front, Gentleman Jim is one of the first guys to take it on at the front. We got Roger Fleming in here as well. Nazi out of the WP TAS race, team founded by the Salzburger brothers, prior racing for Drapag Cycling as well. We've got a few familiar names in here because we've already raced 4 times prior to this, so we've established an overall standing. 2 of those races were broadcasted over on Zwift Community Live here on Facebook. I highly recommend you go check that out if you aren't already over on that page and are giving it a like and following it. So the riders we've seen before are Neil Patlow, who's currently sitting top 5. Anthony Vegan Porsche is sitting top 5. I'm fairly certain I saw Cameron Roberts in here somewhere, who finished 2nd last week in the race. Mr. Troy Herfoss is also racing. The #1 Australian MotoGP rider is also racing, and he won in the most magnificent display last week. I highly recommend you go and look for that video finish, because what Troy Herfoss did was just unbelievable. And we see in his warm-up he actually took the Volcano Climb jersey out on course. So Troy Herfoss, he means business when he races the eCrit series here, rocking that Volcano jersey, which is a one-of-a-kind. And if you're new to Zwift and you're wondering, how can I get that jersey? Well, you've got to be the fastest going up that KOM segment, and that's just what Troy Herfoss did in his warm-ups. He went up and he beat everyone else on Watopia today up that Volcano climb out on course, as we're now entering the Volcano circuit out here. Still a collective group as we head on to the Volcano. This is the first time these riders, actually it's the second time, sorry, they're going to be racing the Volcano circuit. Last time it was about 5 laps in total, and today they're going to do 7 laps. We'll see what the difference of 2 laps is going to make, because the first one was won by Aaron Dunn. Aaron Dunn took the victory in the first time they were on this Watopia Volcano course, where Aaron Dunn won a sprint in front of Anthony Vegan Porsche. And we'll see, with the addition of riders like Cameron Roberts, Troy Herfoss in here, and several newcomers as well. I think I saw Mr. Walsh in here, who was also an excellent rider out there, a junior rider taking part. Looks like he made the jump from the Western Division over to the Eastern Division and racing with the big guns today here out on course. And I can already start it heating up as we're going inside the volcano. The riders, they've got tempers flying everywhere, and now this is where it matters. Several riders already being spat out the back. They just can't follow the high pace being set in the front. We're seeing 4.5 watts per kilo, 4 watts per kilo. And here is one of the inclines they'll be tackling about 7 times. It's 50 meters at about 5.5%. And I tell you, after 7 laps, that incline right there is going to hurt. Because that's when riders like Troy Herfoss and Cameron Roberts, they'll utilize the fact that they're excellent time trialing experts, and they will attack you. They will see that you're in difficulties, and they will hunt their prey. They are predators. They look around for innocent little lambs, and then they go onto the attack, and they do not look back. They can smell blood, and when they do, they are lethal. Looking at the group here, who we got in here, we got a few non-Australians, and that's okay. You can sign up and you can do your workout if you're not from the Southern Hemisphere, from Australia, but you will not go down in the official results as having raced this race. I remind you, this race is for Australians, as Australians will gain points towards an overall classification where we will see top 5 from each division duke it out at the very end. And since I speak so much about the overall standings, how about we give a quick rundown as they stand so far in the Eastern Division. So our current leader is Mr. Aaron Dunn, and Aaron Dunn has been quite a spectacular rider so far, really strong. He has been struggling as of late though, as riders like Cameron Roberts and Troy Herfoss have just kicked the race up to another notch, whereas a guy like Aaron Dunn, he's got a great sprint. He likes to come into the finish in a collective pack. He doesn't really like it when it gets stretched out. He's been having some trouble recently, but he still sits comfortably in first place at 77 points. In second place, we got Anthony Vegan Porsche with 72 points. One of the lighter riders out there who will be enjoying this little segment here, because this is where we're seeing on the big screen, this is where the group is going to split up. Every time we come to this little segment here, this climb, we're going to see riders pop the featherweights. We're going to see riders kick it up into orange numbers, 9 watts per kilogram, and try to put everyone else in hurt out there, because that's where you make the big difference. Third place, we got Mr. Glenn Elton of the team Aussie Hump Day Ride. That's how it's pronounced. Speaking of that, it's a great group ride. If you're looking to join some fellow Australians out there, have a bit of fun, get a workout in. The Aussie Hump Day Ride, which takes place on Wednesdays, I believe, is great fun, and you should definitely check that out in the Zwift mobile link up app. Fourth place, we got a great sprinter in Jason Wagner, and in fifth place, Mr. Neil Patlaw, who we did see out there racing today out on course. See a few new names out there like Fixie Joel. Looks like he likes his Fixie bike. We got Mr. Hassan, we got Johnston, Jeffrey Keel as well out there. We've got Hodges, Walters out there. Gentleman Jim has been doing well, but just lacking that final punch to walk away with a victory out there on course, as the riders are now 5 kilometers into the race. In total, they'll be racing for 33 kilometers today. So 33 kilometers, it'll be a fast race today. It'll be non-stop from the start to the finish, 4 to 5 watts per kilogram, all the way to the finish line. And I'm still looking around for Mr. Cameron Roberts, who I had a quick chat to prior to the race, and it looks like he has not entered this race actually. He may be looking to race the Western Division later today, I'm not so sure, but he has been really strong lately, Mr. Cameron Roberts, who finished second last Tuesday. He mentioned that over the weekend he raced a national Australian race that's about 226 kilometers in total length, and he wasn't sure how the legs were going to feel today, and it looks like he may have skipped out in this one, or he's just been spat out the back that early. So, looking at the riders in this group, there's a good mix of sprinters and punchers. And on this course, it really does suit the punchers, as we already have riders going off the front. And who else but Mr. Troy Herfoss. I had a chat with him about 2 weeks ago, and he said that his style lends itself much more to this time-trialing expert, going off the front, just putting in a solo effort and putting everyone else into the hurt zone, and that's what he's doing. He's popping that aero power up, and look all around. We were seeing orange numbers. He utilizes that little incline to get some free watts, go over the top, and now he's going to try to sustain this 5 to 6 watts per kilogram effort. They're already a fifth of the way done with the race. This course is really fast. If you blink, it'll be gone. It'll be done. You'll be over. The gap will be too big for you to catch back up. But it looks like we've got a few riders catching back up to him now, as Vegan Porsche, O. Jones, and his gentleman Jim has made the bridge up there, as well as Nazi. And speaking of Nazi, He's a really, really strong rider who just mistimed last Tuesday's race. He kept attacking off the front. He kept going. He kept trying to break up the race. Just wasn't his day. And when the race finally broke up, he had burned so many matches that he just slowly faded out the back. I think his fatigue rating over on swiftpower.com was about a negative 14%. Meaning the difference between the first and the second split is 14% in a negative split. So if Nazi can time his efforts a bit better today, perhaps he can go and take the victory. And speaking of the victory, the rider who goes first over the line and wins this East eCrit race number 5 will gain 20 points towards the overall standing. Second place will gain 19. All the way down to 20th place will gain 1 point. So first to 20th gain points. Obviously, the higher you finish, the more points you gather towards the overall standings. But it looks like the attack by Troy Herfoss has been nullified and the pack is back together. But there were a few matches burned in that attack, and I'm sure that's not the last we've seen of Troy Herfoss going off the front. He is duly missing, though, Mr. Cameron Roberts, as I spoke to Roberts earlier today, and he mentioned that Troy and Cameron have been growing up racing together out there on the Australian roads, and they have very similar ways of approaching the race. We'll see Troy Herfoss attack off the front, and then a few seconds later, if Troy gets caught, Cameron will then counter, then Troy will counter, and they just non-stop, relentless power outputs. But it looks like that there'll be one man down today out on course, as another power was being popped here out on course. And since this is the KISS race, since it's powered by Keep It Simple Stupid organizers out on Zwift, anything is allowed. You can race any bike you want. You can choose whether or not to wear a helmet. You can choose whether or not to pop your power-ups, but obviously it is a massive advantage to have those power-ups, as Vegan Porsche is utilizing that aero power-up to just get a bit of an advantage on the rest of the riders, but nothing serious, as he's just going to settle it down, get caught. This is way too early to go out there as well. And I spoke to Anthony prior to this race, and he was not so confident in his ability to actually walk away with this one, saying that this tougher parkour is going to lend itself much more to Troy Herfoss, to Cameron Roberts, to Nazi, to these stronger punchers. But nonetheless, he said he was going to give it his all, and he's just going to work on getting points towards that overall standings, as we got 6 laps to go yet out on course. So this volcano counterclockwise circuit is 4.2 kilometers in total, I believe, at about 1% gradient average. So it's actually really, really flat, but the 2 segments where there are inclines are steep. They really do hurt. Consider all that lactic acid, as I see Troy Herfoss once again at the front of the affairs, kicking it up. You cannot miss him in that volcano jersey out on course. You simply cannot miss this guy. So we also got Ockerby, a new name, a new face to this race out there on course, rocking that green jersey, which you can only gain by winning or leading an intermediate sprint classification out there. So he will also be a rider to look out for if this comes back together for a sprint, as we're now 10 kilometers into the race, and we are a third through the racing action so far today. Looking around, several riders right now will be in the hurt zone, but they'll be happy they made the bridge. Speaking of Aaron, we saw Aaron Dunn, mentioned Aaron Dunn earlier. He maxes out at about 185, so he's got another 30 beats to work with. He's played it smart so far, and without a doubt, he'll be hoping to have a bunch sprint to the finish line. Let's take a look at Glenn Elton out there as well. I saw him in there. Actually, I saw Neil Padlaw sitting just there from the Aussie Hump Day ride, sitting at 166 beats per minute. He's got about 10-15 beats to work with. He is maybe on the brink of being in that hurt zone, as another attack goes off the front. And this is Roger Fleming out of Australia, kicking it up into gear now. He's on that Cervelo bike, popping that aero power up. He goes into the volcano, and he's got a 2-second gap. Who's going to be the first one to react to this? And since I think this is Fleming's first eCrit race out there, everyone else will be looking around. They'll be going, This man has not gained any points. He's not showed us what we can do yet. We've raced each other for 5 weeks straight now. I know what Troy can put out. I know what Anthony can put out. I know Aaron Dunn. But they do not know Mr. Fleming, who is now going off the front at a 7-second gap. He's at 190 beats per minute right now. He's in that hurt zone. This is where he's going to start to assess the situation. He broke away. He's gotten the gap. Now he has to settle it down. 7 seconds is not the entire world here. As he's going off the front, you can see the riders chasing behind him. He has to make a decision now, looking at his heart rate. If he can, you know, not flatline, of course. If he can lower the heart rate and try to flatten it out at like 185, 184, then he's got a chance of sustaining this effort. But looking at his heart rate right now, it's going to be difficult, as there seems to be cooperation further back, and the main peloton still consisting of about 40 riders in here. So the attack from Fleming out there may be nullified next time up that volcano incline, as this looks to be a bit of a desperation attempt. He may be racing with a friend or a teammate out there and just trying to softening up the legs of the riders in the back here, as that is a solid attempt. And while we have a bit of a lull in the action, Fleming out in the front, a pack chasing behind, I would like to remind you that the first Australian eFundo is actually taking place on Zwift very soon, powered by Cycling Tips. So if you did not have a chance to enter the first eFundo powered by the Dolomites, well then don't sweat it, because in about a week or so, I think, we're going to see Cycling Tips power an eFundo on Zwift, where over 1,000 riders from across the world will take part in the pretzel course out there, which is like, what, 73 kilometers or something like that at 600 or 700 meters of altitude. So have fun, sign up, get some friends on there, spend about an hour, 2 hours in the garage, and then see how fast you can finish that pretzel course. More information over on Zwift.com, on GoZwift on Twitter, and right here on the Facebook page at Zwift. So stay tuned for more information on that, as that's happening very soon. So again, riders kicking it up into the orange numbers. We're seeing power-ups being popped left, right, and centers. You obtain a power-up every single time you go underneath that start-finish banner, and we're seeing the featherweight being the one of choice of many here today out on course. Perhaps some are saving an aero power-up for the inevitable sprint at the finish line, since this is a crit race series. So what is Zwift? You're watching on the Zwift Facebook page. Maybe somebody linked you to this and went, hey, Joe, Bob, take a look at this. These guys are actually racing at their home online in a volcano. Take a look at this, Bob. Well, let me tell you, Bob, Zwift is a virtual platform, fitness platform. It's not limited to racing only. You can do workouts, you can do free rides, you can do social rides like the eFundo that I just mentioned, and all you need is your turbo trainer, your bike, and then some sort of computer, either like a tablet, like an iPad or phone, or in this case, I'm on my own computer right now watching these racers race out on course. And if you want to sign up, you can actually get the first week for free, or the first 50 kilometers, by signing up on Zwift.com, and I can tell you it will definitely be worth it. You'll see massive improvements out there. I mean, if you are a member of the forums like Zwift Riders, you'll see riders left, right, and center saying, oh, we're going outside now, and thanks for the winter efforts that Zwift provided me with, I am now able to keep up with the very best out there on course. So Zwift.com, all your information on what you're watching on the screen right now. Taking stock of the action and looking at the riders who have made the front group. We got Aaron Dunn, we got Anthony Vegan Porsche, Nazi, who's been playing it smarter this time, got Glenn Elton, we got Jeffrey Keel, we've got Troy Herfoss at the very front of affairs, I would assume. Roger Fleming is out here. Let's actually take a look. I don't see Troy Herfoss. Oh, there is, my bad. That is when you press the wrong key on the keyboard. Let's see, I'm trying to find Troy. There he is. I saw Troy Herfoss at the back. He has just taken a page out of Aaron Dunn's playbook. When Aaron Dunn is not at the front sprinting, he's going to sit at the back and try to draft as much as possible. And it looks like Troy Herfoss right now is just assessing the situation, sitting at the back, looking over the pack, trying to figure out who's got what it takes today, and just choosing the right moment to strike. Sitting at the back and kicking in with acceleration is going to be so much better in racing, because then nobody else will be able to draft you because they won't see you coming. And that's why when you initiate your attack, you want to be as far back as possible, because then you can actually gather momentum into your attack, and it will be difficult for anyone else to react that are sitting at the front of the group. That's why we're seeing Troy Herfoss just looking like the shark he is at the back here, rocking that volcano climb jersey. And I see a few ride-ons already reining in right there in his back pocket, and it won't hurt with another one as well. So about 25 riders in here. Let's take a look over on swiftpower.com to see the live updates over there. It gives us information regarding the watts they've been putting out, their heart rates, what they're looking at so far, their past results as well. Swiftpower.com is a great tool if you want to get racing out on Zwift. So we're seeing Jeffrey Keel been putting out 4.4 watts so far. He's got plenty of beats to work with, another maybe 20 beats still out there, digging into it. Good effort. Nazi at 4.3, Troy Herfoss at 4.9 so far, so actually a solid effort. Neil Patlaw at 3.9, mastering that drafting expertise he's got out there, you know, making sure that when you're sitting in the wheel you actually spend less energy but you keep up the same pace. And that is why trying to sit in for as long as possible until you actually have to put in an effort is the smarter move, as we're now halfway through the race, 20 minutes in, and the races have been going fast with about average speeds approaching 50 kilometers an hour. These racers are not joking around today out on course. And again, this is our 5th race in the eCrit series. They'll gather points every week towards an overall standing, and at the very end, 5 riders will be invited to a live e-racing finale in Melbourne, as Troy Herfoss has gone again. He will not settle down. He took a look at the group, and here he goes. He's been popping that drafting boost as he is trying to soften up the group again. We saw him sit at the back at 148 beats per minute. That has now kicked up into the 170s, meaning he's putting out an effort, but it looks to be in vain. Today it's a bit difficult for Troy to make that gap. On the Classics course, he had the Whitehall climb every single time to attack up. Today here on the Volcano counterclockwise crit circuit, it is a bit different, but he timed his attack, so he maxes out right here on this incline, but it looks like he just doesn't have what it takes today, or maybe he's holding a bit back and he doesn't want to fire all his bullets in one go. He's saving that for the very final standoff between the riders, but he's been overtaken by the 2 WP TAS racers out there. Nazi working for Aaron Dunn today by the looks of things. Again, WP TAS, Tasmanian team out there, was founded by the Salzburger brothers, Bernard and Wesley, I believe their names are. They're prior pro racers racing for Drapag, and now they have a bit of fun racing and doing workouts on Zwift. And these 2 riders have gone off the front, and they've seen their gap, and they've actually trying to sustain this effort all the way now. Aaron Dunn and Nazi, a 1-second gap. You can see the group behind being stretched out now, as we got 4 laps to go, but they will be caught now by O. Jones. Good effort though from the WP TAS riders out there, and the East eCrit series is always a pleasure to watch, as these riders give it everything every Tuesday. I mean, I've spoken to a few of these riders over the weeks, and they keep saying that when riders like Drew Jin, an Olympic rower, shows up and puts down the hurt, when guys like Troy Herfoss, an Australian back-to-back MotoGP rider, shows up, it just adds a bit of incentive to try and race against these guys, because these are inhuman specimens. Like, they're just super talented athletes, and this is your chance to go head-to-head versus somebody you never thought you'd be able to go head-to-head. And it just, when you're in that hurt zone, it just gives you another gear. At least that's what the few riders I've been speaking to over the last couple of weeks have been telling me. So right on to Drew, right on to Troy, Cameron, all these insane athletes that just take part week in, week out, with the end goal of being invited to the eCrit series taking place in Melbourne in September. And when we look at the times they've been putting out on the Volcano circuit, let me tell you that a 5-minute time on this circuit is incredibly fast. Anything in the 4s is unreal. So these riders out there, they're definitely not holding anything back as they keep on putting out efforts out on course. Again, if you want to catch up with all the racing on this, the prior broadcasts are all stored over on Zwift Community Live. It's right here on Facebook, it's on Twitch, it's on YouTube, it's even on Twitter. So if you want to watch race 2, 3, and 4, well, those are all over on those channels as well, along with other races. It's not only the eCrit series, you also got KISS Europe, EVR Europe, you've got KISS North America with Ian Anderson, several great broadcasts, even some workouts with Susana as well. So anything for your liking. It looks like we got Cameron Roberts now leading the group, but I do not believe he's in the race. So I think somehow Cameron Roberts has missed the start, but as a neutral bystander, he has entered the peloton out there and just wanted to get the workout in. And this will be a crucial mistake towards the overall standings if Cameron Roberts has his sights on that finale in Melbourne in September, because you're going to need to gain every single point from now to September, as there's only top 5 from each division that gets invited, meaning that you're going to have to dig in and you're going to have to put in efforts week in, week out, because the current standings, top 5, already have about 60 or 70 points, and if you're just entering now, you're going to need to put out great results all the way from now to September of consistent top 5, top 10 placings, and hoping for the best. And you know, it really helps to have teammates out there. We see Aaron Dunn today having the pleasure of having Nazi ride with him from WP TAS, and it really does make the difference to have somebody to close down the gaps, have somebody to speak to you while riding, so just that mental aspect of racing with somebody giving you words of encouragement. So if you can have a teammate out there helping you out, try and call a friend, say, hey, come on, I need to get on there. I need you to be my friend now. I'm chasing this incredible finale, this incredible achievement come September, and I need you to help me out there on Zwift. So thank you very much. I'll be the one paying the beers on the next one. Taking stock again after about 20 kilometers of racing, half an hour. We still have a collective pack out there. It is Grupo Compacto, as we're looking at. No rider has been able to attack off the front due to the high pacing and the amount of teammates in today's race. Always a pleasure to see, but I bet you that's going to change in a second as we're going to go up this incline. It is about 150 meters at 5%, and this is where you're going to make the difference. This is where, if you have what it takes, you're going to tag off the front. But it looks like nobody is quite willing to go into the red on this climb just yet, but with 2 laps to go coming up soon, I do expect several riders to dig in and go for it. But after 5 weeks of racing, does fatigue come into play? I spoke to a few riders, and they were mentioning that 5 weeks every Tuesday, having to race at 7 o'clock, and even, you know, cramping, having to gain enough protein, having the gels, at some point muscle fatigue comes into play, because not only are you racing every Tuesday, you'll also be racing in the weekends like Cameron Roberts did. You'll also be racing other races on Zwift. So at some point, you're going to see muscle fatigue out there play a big impact. And as it looks like the overall pace, albeit is incredibly high today, but compared to the Classics course of last Tuesday, it looks like we have a more collective group and a more, you know, collective mindset going into this race. And I think that is due to the fact that we're missing Mr. Cameron Roberts. This man can withstand 5.5 watts per kilogram for about 40 minutes. That is absolutely incredible to be able to put out that sort of effort over 40 minutes. And the race is definitely missing his fluorescent attacks off the front, just not looking back over the shoulder. He would always attack, get into that TT position, and he would say, this is make it or break it. I do not care about the rest of you guys. I know what I can sustain. What can you sustain? But it looks like he has not entered today's race, and that is the result that we're getting a more civilized race out there. Everyone hoping to go to the sprint finish together. And this is an abnormal sprint finish as well. Most sprint finishes on Zwift are either a bit downhill on the flat, because you got the Watopia. The Watopia usually finishes at the pier, where you go down through the tunnel, flattens out the bottom, and then you sprint. You've got the London course, which is completely flat on the red roads, actually a tiny bit of a downhill to go with it as well. Richmond, pretty much a flat finish as well if you discount the climb before it. But this course, the Volcano counterclockwise crit course, it has got that nasty climb, and when you think it's all over, you enter the volcano, and there's actually another climb. There's another ascent just after it, and that's where you really have to make the difference. I think that's Nazi. I think Nazi, once again, has gone off the front, and he has at 5 watts per kilogram now. Looking back over the shoulder, it is Jeffrey Keel and Anthony Vegan Porsche of Team Vision now trying to work together to bring him back. But Nazi did this so well last Tuesday. He kept attacking off the front. He was just unlucky to never really snap that elastic. Today could be the day that it goes in his favor. Looking at SwiftPower.com, last week, maybe 3 or 4 attacks throughout the entire race, and at the very, very end, it's the one attack he does not join that goes away. That is cycling for you, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes cycling can be so cruel, and I think he finished just inside top 10 at 9th place at the end. But this is a serious effort now, as we've got 10 kilometers to go now. Nancy, a 10-second gap. He definitely deserves ride-ons out there, as he's gone off the front. He is sustaining 180 beats per minute, sitting at 5 watts per kilogram now. Who's going to bring this back? It looks like the Vision boys have taken this up now, and Anthony Vegan Porsche is sitting at the front just behind him. Gentleman Jim as well. Let's go back and take a look at that pack. 10 kilometers to go. This is the right moment to attack. This is where there will be doubt in the peloton. This is where everyone says, I've been drafting for this long. I've been saving energy. I am not about to spend it all chasing down this guy just for another guy to attack, because we're so close to the finish line, and that's going to be in Nazi's favor, as he is way up the front now, about 9 seconds up, and it looks like nobody has gone off the front and really putting down the herd. Ockerby and Jones at 4 watts per kilogram. This will not be enough to catch Nazi, but the question is now, can Nazi sustain this effort? He's got about 9 kilometers more of this. He's got to go all the way to the finish line on his own, rocking that Tron bike in the Ingamba kit. He is definitely making WP Task proud today, as the pack is chasing him down. There's no worse feeling than looking over your shoulder and seeing the express train come by and you forgot your ticket. Nazi looks like he will be caught. He will be eaten alive by the pack, but it looks like he's still in denial, trying to attack away. But the high pace by Roger Fleming and Vegan Porsche will catch Nazi out there. He will rest up, and without a doubt, he will try again on the next time around. So far, if you're enjoying the racing right here on the Zwift Facebook page or wherever you're watching, make sure to click that like button right below. This is a pleasure to do this every week here, broadcasting the very best of the best out there on Watopia. And is not going to stop here. It's only going to get better as we enter into the Australian winter, with the climax coming in September, with a live e-racing finale, and a featherweight power-up is being popped at the front there. This is Mr. Ben Hill, I believe, who is he out with a collarbone? I believe I read somewhere that Hill is currently out with a broken collarbone, racing on Zwift, trying to regain fitness, rocking that Cycling Club Canberra kit out there. So right on, Mr. Hill, you've got what it takes to hold on to this group. Let's see. If you've got a broken collarbone, though, I imagine sprinting will be quite difficult, as how are you going to gain that momentum by holding the handlebars and swinging your body left and right as you try to, you try to just ease out every single watt in your body. It's going to be difficult, though, but nonetheless, I'm sure he'll give it a go now. As the Gentleman Jim and Hodges up to 8 watts per kilogram here, rocking that Zwift kit out there with 2 laps to go, trying to kick it up into a gear that nobody else has been able to follow just yet. But the pack today has got his mind on a sprint, and a sprint it looks like we will get. The only rider that can really make the difference, I believe, is a Troy Herfoss. But if Troy Herfoss also partook in the race this weekend with Cameron Roberts, 226 kilometers in a national Australian road race, he could be a bit tired. But I think Troy Herfoss will give it one more go now. He's just sitting at the back, drafting. He's slowly getting that heart rate down again. It's not 148, but it's definitely down into his lower threshold zones here. And we'll see when he's going to give it a go. We're going to stay on Troy just for a minute now, as he is the rider to look out for. He is the one rider that can make it so this will not end in a massive sprint finish, where we're going to be looking at Vegan Porsche. We're going to be looking at Aaron Dunn. We're going to be looking at Neil Patlow, some of the greater sprinters in this pack. and it'll be fun to watch once we get there. We've got 2 laps to go now, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it all comes down to. 40 minutes of racing in total out there today. Who is going to walk away victorious? So far, nobody's been successful in attacking away off the front. It looks like we may have a headwind out on course today. Who is going to give it everything for one last dig, or are we going to wait for the sprint finish now? We're coming into the end now, and you can definitely feel that there's a bit of tension. Everyone is a tiny bit nervous now. So they're sitting in, they're trying to go through the different scenarios, they're trying to make sure that in the end, the best possible outcome goes in their favor. And the thing is, if you are alone out there on course, you have to make sure that you are completely certain in your approach to this finish. Are you going to follow the attack from Nazi or Troy Herfoss, or are you going to let somebody else take the responsibility and try to outsprint them come the end? These are the beautiful elements of cycling. It's the micro decisions that feature in the macro game, as where every single decision, such as where you're sitting, the watch you're putting out right here and right now, they all culminate up into a bigger, oh here we go, Troy Herfoss moving to the front, but they all culminate up into a bigger unit, and at the very, very end, all those small decisions will make or break it for you at the very, very end of affairs now. And I do remind you, the race finishes at 33 kilometers of total racing out there on course. We're 28 kilometers into the racing, 5 kilometers just left out on course, meaning we've got one more lap when they cross the finish line in a second. Now, Troy Herfoss just trying to hang back onto the group now at 5 watts per kilogram. One more lap. In the comment section below, I want you, the viewer, I want you, the Swifter, to let me know, to let us know who you think is going to win this race. It has been a nail-breaking affair, a nail-biting affair so far out here, with nothing to separate the best riders out on courses. They're still all together with 5 kilometers to go. It's been great efforts left, right, and center. Herfoss again, we're just keeping an eye on him because inevitably he's gonna go off the front. He's gonna give it one more dig. He does not feature much of a sprint, but we know, looking at his heart rate, he's got another 30 beats to work with. We're on board with him as we're looking from a front perspective. You can see this is the main pack. It is possibly the biggest peloton we've had of the eCrit series so far, and it's been a pleasure to watch the riders duke it out right here in the Eastern Division. And in about an hour or so, we're going to see the Western Division take on the exact same course out here in the same manner. Same riders, so different riders, same course, different result perhaps. All you have to do is go to Zwift Community Live and watch them duke it out now as we're watching this group, massive pack all together, and we're about to go up the climb for the second to last time now out on course. Let's see, we're going to take a look at the front now. Glenn Elton is up here, Troy Herfoss is moving to the front now, and here we go. We're on the incline. Is anyone going to give it a go? Is anyone going to try to up the watts through the roof into that orange barrier zone and try to go off the front? It does not look like it quite yet, even though the pack is stretched out and riders are trying to just not get dropped right here. It looks like no decisive attack has been made, and in a second they're going to hear the bell ring as we're going to enter the bell lap. One lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. 4 kilometers out on course. 4 kilometers left to decide who's going to be victorious in the Eastern eCrit race number 5. Who's going to walk away with the 20 points and the trophy that they can hold until next Tuesday out on course. All I can say, though, it's been a pleasure to watch these riders duke it out for 40 minutes, and now they have one effort left. We're going to see the heart rates go way through the roof. We're going to see the watts go way through the roof. We're going to see the cadence go way through the roof, and we'll see who's going to end up on the top of the house victorious at the very end of affairs now. So we're going to keep an eye on Aaron Dunn. He is the main sprinter to beat in this bunch. Since Savatsky, the winner of race 3, has not decided to show up today, Aaron Dunn is without a doubt the strongest sprinter in this pack. But how does he fare on that climb coming into the finish line? Because we know he's about 82 kilograms, and on that final ascent, if there is a lighter sprinter out there, he may or she may have a bit bit of an advantage going up that climb now. And fun fact, Aaron Dunn is actually broadcasting his race over on his personal Facebook. So if you are a friend of Aaron Dunn, I definitely recommend going over to his personal Facebook and giving him words of encouragement as he is riding out there, and it's never looked better for Aaron Dunn as he's got 3 kilometers to go now in the Volcano counterclockwise course here today. He is going to be the man to beat. All eyes are going to be on him now as he is riding really well today out on course. Glenn Elton at the front. We got Gooding of Innovation Cycling, one of the newer teams also in here. He's been hiding under the radar, but it looks like Nazi is going to try to soften things up for Aaron Dunn. He's going to catch the riders out early. He's gone on to the attack, and this is with 2 kilometers to go. He was definitely going to try once more, and it looks like Jeffrey Keel behind him is putting in the attack to try and catch up to him, and it looks like she is successful in that now. Jeffrey on the wheel, and she is sitting on the wheel now. I'm fairly certain Jeffrey is a male, but he's rocking a female avatar out there, out on course. 2 seconds between the pack and the front out here now, and this could be the decisive attack. 2 riders versus the chasing peloton. They can see them over the shoulder. They've got 1.5 kilometers to go as we enter the volcano for the second to last time today out on course. 1 second between them now, and here comes the peloton. That attack has been avoided. Jeffrey once again is not ready to give up, going to attack once more, but Hodges, Jones, Dunn, they're having none of it. They're all catching back up, and it is Grupo Compacto out there as everything is back together with about 1.5 kilometers to go. We've got go out of the volcano, we turn left, we go up that steep incline, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna conclude 40 minutes of great racing out there, and we still have a massive peloton out on course. Positioning is gonna be everything going into the sprint now. You wanna make sure to have the right wheel. You wanna make sure to not launch your sprint too early. This is gonna be interesting, and this is also where the power-ups comes into play. Have you gotten an aero power-up? Have you been hiding that from the very beginning? That's definitely gonna make the difference, or perhaps even a featherweight power-up to make you just that bit lighter going up that climb. We'll see which of these riders is going to walk away victorious in just another kilometer. It's all going to come down to this now. It looks like nobody is going to give it one last go. They're all going to wait for the very final incline now, as we're going to try to go on board with Mr. Aaron Dunn. As we know, I have to go further back here. We know Aaron Dunn is the better sprinter. We're going to watch how he places out now as he's sitting in the middle of the pack, as this is his first person view, his onboard GoPro camera footage. He's sitting in the middle of the peloton, drafting absolutely everybody, and there goes Nazi again. Nazi has gone off the front, and he is going to try to help Dunn out as much as possible. And who's going to react to this? We know Nazi. He's like a diesel engine. He does not give up. And Aaron Dunn, he just for a second put up the pace, but he realizes that he's just catching his teammate, and that could be a vital error as he's sitting in second place now, and Nazi giving everything. This is a super domestique out there on course from WP TAS, the Tasmanian team, giving it everything he's got to make sure that Aaron Dunn is in perfect position. Here we go. We're about to turn left. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. It is 600 meters to go, 700 meters to go from here. This is what you're going to have to start launching your sprint. We're seeing orange numbers from Hodges, from Dunn, from everyone else as well. Glenn Elton, we're seeing an aero power-up being popped by Vegan Porsche. 500 meters to go. Who's going to walk away with the victory? It is neck and neck all the way to the finish line now. Who's going to be the first one to launch that final sprint? The ride-on comes in. The aero power-up comes in. It is a neck and neck between Innovation Cycling and Mr. Aaron Dunn, up to 10 watts per kilogram. But here comes Jones. Here comes Herfoss. Herfoss said he didn't have a sprint, but he just kicked it up to 13 watts per kilogram. It's going to be neck and neck between Mr. Dunn and Troy Herfoss now as they're coming into the sprint. Troy said he did not have a sprint, but he was obviously keeping something back as the finish line is coming up. And Troy Herfoss is going to take it on the line, making it a back-to-back victory in the eCrit series. Well done to Mr. Troy Herfoss. Second place, Aaron Dunn. Third place, Innovation Cycling. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to point out, I had a sit down with Troy Herfoss, and he said to me, I do not pack a sprint. For me to win, I need to go from a long ways out. I need to soften up the race. But I think that incline, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, that was incredible. Even with the aero power-up, Aaron Dunn could not steal that one out. Incredible racing to everyone. Thank you so much for watching today's broadcast. In about an hour or so, we're going to be broadcasting the Western Division, taking place over on Zwift Community Live, right here on Facebook as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Well done to all the racers out there. That is back-to-back victories for Troy Herfoss. Do you have what it takes to beat our undefeated king right now in 2 races back-to-back? Take the start line next Tuesday. I believe it'll be broadcasted by none other than Nathan Guerra. Thank you so much for keeping me company today. My name is Jesper Anker, and I will see you guys in about an hour over on Zwift Community Live.